The 1995 World Cup final will forever be remembered as the tournament that united a nation. This week, the players relive that historic occasion.
The atmosphere at the 1995 Rugby World Cup final was nothing short of electric. It was an amazing place. There was the sense of anticipation of a country coming together where two traditional rivals met in the final for the first time since South Africa became a democracy.
To be there, you know, to run out on a stadium where you were 23 years old, and I mean, to experience that, it's something that you can't describe it.
I was either early out or late back into the changing room. So I was one of the probably the only All Black that was out there, standing looking around the field as the big jumbo went over the South African Airways with Go Bokke written on the bottom of it. So, you know, it was an electric atmosphere. It was very, very exciting to be part of.
Not in my wildest dreams did I think that Nelson Mandela will pitch up at the final wearing the Springbok on his heart. And when he walked into our changing room to say good luck to us, and he turned around and my number was on his back, it was just an amazing feeling.
It is because I understood the impact of sport. It was a very important sport, and precisely because sports speaks a language which is understood by everybody throughout the world, I supported it.
The pressure was all on us because they had Nelson Mandela on their side, they had their country, had finally united. It felt like that we were 15 players playing against, you know, a couple of million people at that time, and that was a huge difference.
In the first half, we had a good attack, and the ball came really slowly, and I dropped back in the pocket, and I kicked it, and it went over, and it was just a matter of, in a final, accumulating points, because if you keep the scoreboard ticking over, you keep the opposition under pressure, you're always in with a shout. And we were undoubtedly the underdogs, so we needed to keep the scoreboard ticking over.
So I scrummed a few times against Oliver Brown, and I believe that was the only time that I had the upper hand at scrum time was in the 95 World Cup, and it was only due to the fact that I believe we as a side scrummed a lot. We were fit, and as a unit we worked really well, and we could counter them at scrum time.
At one stage we actually did push them over the line, and then when we attacked the line, Ruben Kruger scored a try. But Mr. Morrison was unsighted. You know, if there was a video referee these days, the try would have been awarded. He was unsighted, he didn't give the try.
Again the little thrust from, and they're over this time. They can get it down. No, the referee can't see it.
Which had a immediate negative effect, but fortunately because we prepared for it, the team switched totally into a positive mode again. It happened, let's move on to the next move.
I managed to hit one drop goal in regular time, which was probably the occasion where I should have thrown it to Jonah, who I think had a one-on-one, and in those situations he's normally pretty lethal. So for whatever reason I didn't hear him. I mean, it was pretty loud, but I'm not trying to find excuses.
He thought about spinning it left to go for the try, then decided he wanted the points, and New Zealand are level again.
I thought maybe halfway to two-thirds through that game, South Africa worked out how to deal with the Jonah factor and the speed that we had out wide in terms of Jeff and Glenn Osborne, and they were shutting us down there, and we just needed to go a little bit more orthodox and charge the middle a bit more. We just needed to adjust.
The referee blowing for full time. We'll now have 10 minutes each way, extra time. The score's locked at 9-all.
Going into that extra time, it was never a matter of if we do this, that'll happen, and then we will win. It was a matter of there's nothing that can stop us now. We were fit, we were strong, we were almost peaking going into extra time. And 7 minutes to go, we had a scrum right-hand side, sort of about 15 metres in from the touchline. Francois called a back row move. I just saw where Bashop was lined up. He was very focused on Joost as Joost put the ball in. And I looked, and Andrew Mehrtens was standing really wide. So I shouted to Joost, and I shouted cancel, and you know, it wasn't a long kick, it was almost smack bang in front.
I didn't even really contemplate Stransky kicking a goal straight off first phase. He kicked it straight off the scrum.
You know, most often I think you try and set a couple of phases, get yourself into the middle of the field and then look for the drop goal. I probably should have been a bit more aware about that.
Basham actually tried to block the pass, which meant there's no pressure on me coming from the inside, and I just had this big channel to kick it through. And I think if I look back on my whole career, I'd love to have kicked every ball as well as I kicked that time.
But that's it. South Africa have won the World Cup.
Our hearts dropped, and when you stand up and you take in the noise and the crowd that was around, what we saw was just truly inspirational, and it took quite a fair bit of the pain away.
I dropped down to my knees just to say a quick prayer, and before I realized that everybody was around me. And then all the tension of the 6 weeks, everything that led to the final just came to a fore. I was very, very emotional, incredibly proud of the team, proud of that moment, and very much proud to be a Springbok rugby player.